Have you been in a situation where you applied for a job and no one is calling you back? It's been boring. Then you've applied for hundreds of jobs and it seems as if your resume is getting to nowhere. There are several reasons for this. Number one, you're using the old resume, which is more of a dead resume. It doesn't work anymore. Number two is that the applicant tracking system is deleting your resume before it even gets to a recruiter. In this video, I will show you how to solve all of those two problems. I'm going to help you to make a resume that's almost living, that adapts with the job, and then you don't find yourself in a situation where you're called for an interview and you're in front of a hiring manager with the wrong resume because you made so many different variations of your resumes. This would really help you to avoid that embarrassment. It's going to be a very interesting lesson, and I really recommend that you take as much time as you need to watch the entire video. It would be very beneficial for you. Whenever you apply for a job, the very first thing that happens is that your job is going to go through the applicant tracking system. It's a software that can look through thousands of applications and see those that best fit the role. So there is a very high chance that if you don't really work on your resume will never see a recruiter, it would never see a hiring manager. It will be deleted by the software. So the very first challenge of this first phase of the class or of this tutorial is to show you how to go through the application tracking software. Good news is we have tools today like ChatGPT that understand how those application tracking softwares work. So it's going to be a full class. We are going to go on and apply for some jobs, and then we are going to follow the steps together, step by step. Since I'm using the Windows operating system, the very first thing we'll do is to go and download Git and use Git. So I'll write Git and I hit enter. We will download Git for Windows. It will take us to this page, and right here you will see download for Windows. If you have a Mac, follow the instructions to download for Mac. And again, you can use tools like Bro install. If you have Ubuntu, apps get installed, or Yum install for Red Hat. But most people who apply for jobs are probably using a Mac or Windows. Let's keep it simple. I will download the Git, and I will go ahead and I'll click download. I'll download this latest version. I'm going to go ahead and save it. As soon as that's downloaded, we will go ahead and begin our installation. So download is complete. It's a very small file. Now install this application, Git. This application will install Git for repository management, and it will also install a command line utility called Git batch, which we can use now to work on our resume. I click next. I just double click on the Git installer package, next, and I'll put an icon on the desktop, or add an icon on the desktop, and I'll hit next, again, next, straight to the point, next, basically next to the end. They're just giving us extra features to install, like theme or SSH. Now hit install. That should install Git and Git batch that I will need for the next phase on check the size. So the installation just completed, and we are asked if we want to launch Git batch. I'll just click, I'll uncheck this. I don't want to look at the release note, and I'll just hit finish. And that's basically how you install Git. So I'll go ahead and create a new folder on my desktop in which I'll put my resume. Right click, I'll put new folder, resume. Go sec resume. And this is a Git batch which we just downloaded and installed. Double click and open Git batch, and this will give you some sort of command line utility for Windows, more of a Linux shell. Since I have this open, I'll open this resume folder for my resume, and I will drag my resume and drop here. You can copy and paste depending where your resume is. I just brought my resume over here, and this is my resume. So on my desktop, I have this folder called sec resume. And I open here, and this is my resume. The next thing we are going to do is I'll go ahead and enter this resume through the command line, And if you're not very good with Linux, I'll make it really easy for you. If you open, you have to open Git Bash. I'll open Git Bash. And again, let me increase the font for you to see. And double click here, I'll put it by the side. And to enter a directory, you use the command cd. However, if you check your current directory, I'm probably somewhere very far away from my desktop. It's easy to go, but I will show you something even easier to do. So this is the resume we want to work with, this sec resume. Now, if you look over here, this is the folder that has my resume. If I open it, you would see my resume inside this my resume. So the easiest thing to do if I want to duplicate this folder from the command line, I'll just write cd, and then I will click on this folder and I drop here on the Git Bash window, and I hit enter. And there you go, very easy. You don't have to go through all the several cd slashes. pwd, and you see my present work directory. If I do an ls, you would see that that's my resume. This is resume. So this is where the fun part begins. The very first thing we are going to do, guys, we are going to go ahead and initialize this directory to make sure that Git can track it. So I'm going to do git init. That's the first thing we do. That will initialize the directory, and then we can start tracking changes on our resume. Now we're going to command git status to check the status, and this is what we have. We have a file here. It's an untracked file. So the very first thing we are going to do is to add this resume into the Git database. So I'm going to say git add. I'll put a period, or I could write the name of the resume. It's called sec resume, or just call resume. I just could put a period to add everything in that directory. That adds it to the directory. Now I'm going to do a git status. I'll do a git status. You see, this is a resume. It's on. It's been staged right now. So I'm going to go ahead and commit this resume. Now I'll call it my original resume. I'm going to do a git commit, and I'm going to add a commit message. And quotation mark, I'll write this. I'll write original for my original resume. Okay, I've committed that change. If I do a git log, you will see that I have my very first commit, and this is tracking my resume. And this is where the fun begins. So every time I see a new job, I'm going to open this original resume, add certain things to it, commit it back with the title and the job ID of the new job, and apply for that job. So we are going to go ahead and look for some jobs. And before we apply for the job, let's take a look at our original resume. Double click and I open it. And this is my resume. So I write about my experience and I write my current job. Let me make the fonts a little larger for you. And I continue to scroll down. This is everything I've written about my present job or my present resume. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead to linking and start applying for some jobs. And I will show you how easy this can be. It needs to do some work, but it increases your chance a lot of getting called. Now we are on LinkedIn and we are going to start doing some applications. However, in order to proceed, I came here linking and I've just wrote cybersecurity in the United States. I want something remote, but I also want to choose easy apply. Since I want to do all the applications from here, I'll choose easy apply. And so this is the job called Linux System Engineer. I could do that job, but I want cybersecurity. Okay, this in Indianapolis is hybrid. I'm going to choose remote, just remote. 3,000 jobs remote. Okay, let's look at Cloud Application Security Engineer in Washington, D.C. This one, they will implement comprehensive cloud security strategies aligning business objectives. Those looks good. Infrastructure as code, fine. Containerization, good with those. AWS, good with that too. Collaboration, DevOps integration. Okay, those ones look really good. So I would go ahead and I will do something really quick. If you are using the free version of ChatGPT, this is what you would literally do. You open your resume, copy it, and paste it on ChatGPT. Let's do that. Just hit a Control A, Control C to copy. And then when I copy that resume, I will come here and I will just say, hey, I want you to memorize my resume. And it's gonna wait for it, and I'm gonna paste my entire resume to ChatGPT and I send it, and it's going to memorize my resume. The next part of what we are going to do is to copy that entire job description and then ask it how we match compared to this job description. I will show you the words I write. I say, ChatGPT, I would like you to rank me based on this job description and what you know in my resume. I want you to know that since you're using the free version, it could be a little bit slower. I use the paid version and it's really, really fast. I like this job. I'm going to copy the entire job description and go right to the bottom. Right click, copy, and I'll go to ChatGPT. I'll say, I would like you to rank me on 100. I qualify this job. I'm going to paste that job. I hit enter and be patient. It's going to go ahead and rank us. It's telling me everything it finds in my resume, my strength that matches the job requirement. And I like to always score myself if I apply for a job. Sometimes if I'm above a 60, I will apply. I really recommend that. Now, these are some potential gaps on my resume. Ranking. Actually, my score is 85 on 100. 85 on 100 for this job is very, very good. So I would go ahead and say that it's asking me to emphasize my expertise on and certifications on Kubernetes, which I already have. Well, I'm going to ask ChatGPT to give me 4 bullet points for each of the last 2 jobs I just held, the most recent ones, so that I would have a chance to pass the applicant tracking system for each of my last 2 jobs. Okay, enter. Excellent. Excellent. So guys, this is very, very excellent. Now, this is not like as if you're trying to lie them on your resume, because these are things that you know, but you might have not organized them yourself well. For example, if you even see that the job needs something like SQL and you don't know SQL, write it there and then study it that weekend before the interview. Then you would know SQL. So you have to use your head and play the game ahead of time. So these are things that if I add to my resume, it would really help me to go ahead and pass those application tracking system. And I know each and every one of these things, but just not include them on my resume. So for this job, I would go ahead and copy the information for my last 2 jobs. This is the job before the present job. I'll copy all of these bullet points. If I paste them on Word directly, the formatting will not be the best, right? Paste. Look at that. There are some question marks here and all of that stuff. I don't want that. I'm going to hit Control Z to undo. Control and the letter Z or Z to undo. I want to undo that. I've undone that. And I'll go paste that on Notepad. Let's say if I come here, I open Notepad. Open Notepad on your screen. Notepad. On the new page, new tab. Control V to paste or edit paste. You should know that by now. I copy all of this. Control C, right click, and then I copy. I highlight and select all, or I just select all. I click copy. Then I'll go on here and I'm gonna paste it here. Excellent. Look, the bullet points, it forms very well. I'll go take for the very first job, my current job, the points it gives me to add to my current job. I'll go there and I will come here and I will add it. The 4 bullet points. It says architecture implemented cloud security strategies for Kubernetes Azure environment, conduct vulnerability assessment and develop remediation strategies for PCI DSS, HIPAA, and GDPR. Now, if you do not do one of these, you just have HIPAA, that's fine. But again, this is just an example. You know what to do from there. Design and optimize CI/CD pipeline, Jenkins, Ansible, integrated automatic security checks, integrated Azure Monitor, Sentinel. I did all of that and reducing over a 20% reduction in response time. So mine was as better as 80% anyway. So I'll copy that. And then I will go, this is an example, and I'll come up here and I will put it under the very first job. Again, I will transfer it to Notepad so I can lose all of that formatting. Control V, Control A, Control C to copy. And then I'll come under here. Then I'll paste. Control V to paste. And see, I've brought that information here. Now, my resume is a little bit long, but that's fine. You can, if you want a very short resume, you can go through your resume and delete some things that you don't want. But I'll just keep it here. This is my resume. I'm now modifying the original resume. I've added 2 keywords for that job. And I will go ahead and I hit the letter save. I hit this diskette, save. I have saved that. Now let's go back to Git. So I've looked for a job. I've tweaked my resume based on that job. And I will go back here to Git bash and I will do a Git status again. Okay, I'll declare your screen. I'll do Git status. Enter. And now you see that this has been modified. It's waiting to be committed. I'll commit it now. I'll do a git commit -am to add and commit at the same time with the message. Then I'll add a message. Now, this is what I wanted to take note. I would like you to name your commit message based on the job you're applying for. And this job is Cloud Application Security with Addison Group. I will try to copy this title. I'll copy that. And it's in the Washington, D.C. area. That will be part of my commit message. I'll copy that. And then my commit message, git commit AM, quotation mark open. I paste that. And then I do quotation mark close with Addison Group. Okay. And I just hit enter. See, that is message has been committed successfully. Now, the reason I did this is so that if after I've applied for 50 jobs and somebody calls me that he's calling from Addison Group and it's about a job that I applied for Cloud Application Security with Addison Group, I can easily look at Git log and I will see this is that commit here, guys. Cloud Application Security with Addison Group. Or I could do something as short as Git log --1 line. You see, it gives me just one line. So let's go ahead. I'll do the same thing over and over again for different jobs. And then I'll commit my resume and add it. So you've seen the first one. Now let's go for the next job. With the next job, I'm going to look for a job. Oh, since that is done, before I even apply for the next job, how about we apply for this? I'll hit apply. And then this is my email. I hit next. And then I'll just go to upload my resume. And then I'll go to security resume, sec resume. That's the folder. And this is the resume. And then I can clearly see that every time I apply for a job, I just use a different resume. Next. Have you completed a bachelor's degree? Yes. How many years of experience do you have with Kubernetes? About 7. How many years of experience do you have with Amazon Web Services? 9, correct? How many years of experience do you have with application security? About 4. And then I'll go ahead and I hit next. Work authorization. I don't need any sponsorship. I'm a citizen. I'm legally authorized to work in the United States. On review. And I don't want to follow them. I will submit the application. That's how easy it is, guys. So I'm going to go ahead and look for another job again. Let's scroll down here. Senior Cloud Security Engineer. That will be me. And build AS Cloud Identity Management. This is SQL. So the things I see for this job, I could do the same thing like asking ChatGPT to copy and then maybe give me some key points for what I could put on my resume. So, however, I think that my original resume should be good enough for this job, my very first original resume, because almost all the things I did are on this job. So I'll show you how to do that. We're going to go back to Git. Then we're going to do a Git status. So what we are going to do is we are going to restore the original resume because now we have the resume that was for app security. So we're going to do a Git restore. That's the source. The source is, we have to put the commit number. This is it here, original resume. I'll paste that in. And then what's the name of the file? Space dash dash. Let's hit the tab, it should bring that file. The file is called resume, the arrow, resume, the doc. You hit enter, that gives you back my original resume without those modifications. So now I am going to go ahead and apply for this job with senior cloud security. Hit easy apply, and then down, and hit next. I'm going to upload. I'm still going to choose the same resume, which is still my original right now, and I'm going to send that in. I'm going to say next. How many years of experience do you have with AWS? 9. How many years of experience do you have with IAM? About 7, I guess. How many years of experience do you have with Python? Maybe 6. How many years of experience do you have with Kubernetes? About 7. How many years of experience do you have with Azure? About 7. And I'll go ahead and review it. And then I'll submit the application. Good. So one thing I want to do is I still want to commit that original resume, but with the name of this company. This company is called Diligent Technologies United States. I'm going to copy that. I'm going to go commit that application. So I'll come back to Git Bash. The same thing all over again, nothing new. I'm going to close the quote mark. Hit enter. If I do a git log, you see all the jobs I've applied, and you see the commit messages. I can easily revert to those messages as easy as I want to. Now we're going to hit again to one last job, and okay, this is another job, and I can see here the one in-depth knowledge of the linear and CyberArk for identity and access management. I used this about how many years ago at IBM? 5 years ago at IBM. I wouldn't say my knowledge is very in-depth right now. I might as well skip this job. It's okay to skip something you're not comfortable with. So one thing I will do is, let's say I receive a call from this guy, senior cybersecurity engineer at Delente Technologies. They say, hey, Stans, we're calling from Delente Technologies. You applied for a job. All I will do to get an exact resume that I'd use to apply for that job will be do a git restore dash source equal to, I'll put this ID, the ID for the commit dash dash the file name is called resume. When I do that, maybe I spelled it wrongly. Oh, resume, the doc. So I have to put the extension. I do that. That's all. It automatically takes me back to the old resume that has all the changes I had for that, and that will be the resume I opened for the interview. So let me go back there to set resume, and this is the resume. And you will see it brings me to this extra resume with this extra point I've written for that job. One thing you have to make sure is that whenever you're restoring a resume to a previous version, the resume itself should always be closed. If you have this Microsoft Word document open and you're trying to restore the resume, Git will not be able to do that because it would say that the file is open. So this resume should always be closed. Close it. So what we're gonna do one last thing again, the same thing, just a repetition. Let's say this time we get a call from the other job we applied. Let's do a git log, and I will do a git log dash one line. Just one in on one line, and hit enter. Omitted E1 line 1. There you go. So those are the commits that I have made for this resume. And if you look, if I say I'm having a call from somebody from, let's say, cloud application security engineer from the Addison group, I'm going to go ahead and call on for that resume. But before we do that, let me show you what my original resume looks like. And let's look at the last line of that commit. Let me go to resume. Yep. And if we open this resume, this is the original resume. I already restored to the original resume. If you come here, the very last line here is delivered post-incident reviews, and it ends with the word future risk. So just remember this word on the very last line, the very last line of the first job. Reduce future risk. That's what we have here. Now let's go ahead and restore this resume to something else. I'm going to come here and we are going to go back to Git batch and take care of that. Where is Git batch? There we go. Okay, so let's say we have a call from Jason for the job I applied as a cloud application security engineer from the Addison group. I'm going to do before I talk with him. Now, this list can become really full because sometimes you apply for 50 jobs, but this does a good job of tracking everything for you. I'm going to do a git restore again, dash the source equal to, I'll choose the commit ID for this Jason's job, the Addison group. Right click and I'm going to paste it. And dash dash. The file name is resume. I hit tab to complete the doc. I hit enter. There you go. It reverted. Now remember, the last one ended with a different text. Let's go and open the resume again and see what it looks like. So I open this resume. And if you look here at the bottom, the first one ended here on future risk, but at the bottom, you can clearly see that we're having a 20% reduction in response time. It's a completely different resume. So anyway, that's how we keep track of your resume. This will mostly help people who are in tech, people who are in accounting and other domain. I mean, your technology does not change as much as our own change in technology. So I hope that this was beneficial to you. If you have any questions, ask there at the bottom, and I'll be glad to help you. Thank you so much. And if you get a bit confused on Git, feel free to ask on ChatGPT. There are hundreds of free Git videos that you can learn Git in 5, sometimes 15, 20, 30 minutes. You should be good with Git. But use these tools at your advantage so that you can land a job faster. Thank you for watching. Remember to subscribe. If you don't subscribe, I'm going to ask you for an offering, okay? So just remember to subscribe. Thank you.